Hey guys, do you know why affordable housing, which is perhaps a new term to Dubai, but it's becoming a reality, is going to be a big boom for Dubai? It's going to ultimately lead Dubai's recovery and make it much faster. Do you know why? Watch this video till the end to understand what has happened continuously for many years in Dubai and why affordable housing is going to be a key component in Dubai's recovery, even if we don't say boom. My name is Fahd Dawood. I talk about real estate internationally, Dubai specifically sometimes, your life and my life, and our path to financial bliss. I'm also the author of the book, The Intelligent Real Estate Investor. You can buy it off Amazon or you can download an ebook, and you can actually reach out to me if you want to particularly work with me. Any questions that you might have in general about real estate specifically, you can always put it down in the comment section. I do reply to them by making either a YouTube video about them or replying to your comments, okay? Before we go further, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. I want to be a real YouTuber to my children who will always look up to me if I get a play button. Okay, so check this out. What's been Dubai's story since 2000, 2003? Okay, one more zero here. Rents have been going up very fast. It's been Dubai's story. We had a little bit of a break between 2008 to approximately 2011. Otherwise, rents were going up very fast. What I'd like to draw your attention to, oh, by the way, before I go further, let's understand that a byproduct of rents going up very fast was that all businesses, schools, MNCs, and other SMEs, small and medium-sized businesses, used to complain that one of the largest problems that they have is employee salaries. And one of the reasons that was because for employees, rent was one of the, and in fact, I'll put it in red because rent was one of the largest chunks of the employee salary. Almost 30%, if not 40% in some cases of an employee salary went towards rent. Essentially what ended up happening was schools had to pay their teachers a lot of money to retain them. Multinational companies had to pay their employees a lot of money to retain them, because the moment another employer comes around offering their employee more money, obviously the employee, and I don't blame them, is going to jump ship, right? SMEs would do the same, and then hospitals would have to pay doctors a lot of salary so that their rent needs are met, etc. But essentially speaking, this entire thing cascades down to the end customer, to us, to me, to you, who ends up paying the fact that anybody's 30 to 40% of income goes towards rent. So what did the Dubai government do? A lot of people don't remember this, but approximately, if you pick up the local newspaper, Gulf News or Khalij Times or the National, the Dubai government or the UAE government per se, decided as a strategic move that they wanted Dubai to have affordable housing to bring this component further down, okay? The reason is, the more competitive you want your economy to be, you want your economy to provide services at lower prices, right? Because you want to compete, right? And now if rent's such a big component, it's like lost value in some cases, because having high rents doesn't actually add to anybody's pocket at the end of the day, because when everybody's in the same economy, if everybody's rents are high, then even the landlord that's collecting higher rent ends up paying it back into the economy, because he's got to utilize the same services in the economy. So the Dubai government specifically led the charge on bringing this down, okay? Now, a side comment for all those people who ended up buying apartments and townhouses, I'm not going to mention prices, and are now seeing prices come down because there's more surplus in the market. How did the Dubai government encourage that to come down? Is by, I'm not going to say surplus, is by increasing inventory property in the affordable sector. Okay, so we've seen a ton of increase of property in the affordable sector in Dubai. Okay, so Nashama Town Square is one such example, and tons of other tier 2 and tier 3 developers. And you know, even Emaar is still leading the charge on this with something called the Valley, which is going to be called affordable. Like, I would say it's affordable because it's a little bit away from the city, even if the prices are not super cheap at the moment. So what you guys got to understand is that affordable housing and bringing rents down was Dubai's policy. It was a very deliberate, strategic action on Dubai's part, because they want to make their economy competitive at the end of the day. And I personally believe that everybody who's going to benefit from this should be saying thanks to God, and then after that to the people who are in charge in Dubai and the UAE, right? Because who wants to continuously pay more rents? And even if the landlords think that, hey, I want more rent, think about it. Any extra rent that you collect goes to paying for services in the economy by you, right? So are you really benefiting that much, or you're not? And then now I want to take you to the 1980s. Okay, so the 1980s. Can you see this? Something that was very particularly that happened in the 1980s. Okay, I'm a Dubai kid. I was born and raised in Dubai. I've been here 4 generations. My grandfather used to run a business, and my father was working with the Dubai municipality. Back then, Dubai municipality was in charge for the entire city's complete strategic plan, transport, etc. But now you've got obviously several other departments like the RT and so on and so forth. But the Dubai municipality was in charge with all kind of city planning. What ended up happening in the 80s, when rents started going up, a lot of expats who were living in Dubai, and this is a story that my father told me, okay, a lot of expats that were living in Dubai at that time ended up, essentially speaking, sending their families back home. Okay, so here's His Highness Sheikh Rashid, who's the father of the current ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed. Sheikh Rashid decides to do something. Okay, so Sheikh Rashid, he said, what I want is, I want to realize, he understood something. He understood that if I've got a city full of bachelors, then I've got nobody utilizing these services. Okay, this is just one part of the thinking that was narrated to me, right? So imagine, think about this, right? If you've got a city full of not bachelors, they're married men who've decided to send their families back to India or Pakistan, whatever you may have. And then he says, if their families aren't here, who are going to use these services? Nobody, right? Nobody then has children to send to school. Nobody has children to go to the malls, shopping malls, parks, etc., etc. And to have a city full of single men who are actually married but are men who are single has its own challenges, right? Because men then need their own kind of activities. And you know that Dubai is a family place. It's a family fun place. It's a high standard of living, provides a great standard of living for your family. So he decided to commission, at that time, 3 large, let's call them communities. They used to call them colonies at that time, okay? One was in Satwa, okay? One was in Ghasais, and the other was Al-Shab. This is Hor Al-Anz, okay? These 3 places, I believe together, they had maybe 20 to 60,000 apartments. This is a guess completely. Kids who grew up in those areas, many of my friends grew up, we used to go to those places. I had friends who were living here, I had friends who were living here, I didn't have friends who were living here, but that's not the point. The point is, he ended up commissioning these large areas of apartments, and the rents were controlled by the government here. So I think that you could have a 2-bedroom, I don't remember, but it was pretty cheap per year, maybe between 4,000 to 10,000 dirhams per year, and they were controlled, and you had to apply, and you couldn't just get it, and it was but to be honest with you, you could call them affordable housing, but they were nice, great, safe places to live. Kids grew up, like, these weren't places like, I don't want to put down any country, but you know, like, if you go to certain areas of certain large cities in the world, you've got delinquent people living there, the crime's high. No, these places were pretty good, pretty solid, and they were doing very well. So think about, and then what happened with that is people started moving there, people started keeping their families here with them because they could afford to live with them and have them here. And you know, who wouldn't want that, right? If you were growing up as a kid and your father, because of money, right, had to send you away while he continued to toil, and that's the current reality for a lot of people in Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, I understand that. But imagine, right, yourselves, you would love to live with your father and mother together, you know, in a lovely, happy family. So based on this, then Dubai's economy gets that boost, right? Because there's all these people using those services. Now, granted, we're not at this stage in 2020, like we're somewhere else in 2020. But what's going to end up happening is the amount of affordable housing that has come into Dubai is really pushing pressure on rents to come down, okay? It's not always a bad thing. If you think of the long term, it's going to help Dubai with its own faster recovery. And now I'm using the word boom, but it's not necessarily going to be a boom, but it's going to be a serious recovery. Pay attention. It's not going to be all bad. Sometimes you got to take the good, the bad, and understand the grander picture, and you can benefit out of it. If you want to work with me specifically, you can hit the work with Fahd at the bottom of the this video. In the description, there's going to be a way of how you can work with me, utilize my services to guide you regardless of whichever stage you're at. I help with just a strategy session. I can help you evaluate an opportunity, getting your pricing right, whether you're a seller or a buyer. I can help you with negotiating and saving some money. I can help you with the entire handover process. I have a dedicated team that does that. If you've got money stuck with a developer, I can also help you with that. I've got a product specifically targeted for that. Last but not the least, if you want the VIP package and want to work with me completely, that's also on the table. You must apply, and I must choose to actually figure out that you're a good fit for my services. Ciao for now. Hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon. I hope this makes sense why affordable housing is going to be good for Dubai. Sorry to all the landlords. I was a landlord myself as well. I know it hurts to be going into this period of lower rents, but look, things are going to be okay. All right, cheers for now. Bye.